This home screen is really meant to be a dashboard, a very quick view, maybe even an in-your-face view of what's going on. Right now, this is the organizational summary. So here we can see the equity summary. This is all of the credits that are remaining out there right now that have yet to be paid. You can see I do have data all the way back until 2016, but we can break it down so we can just see how much patronage is owed. We can just see how much retains is owed, and you can see that information here in the grid as well. But this gives you a good picture and the ability to let the board know things like, hey, we actually owe this much for this period, or we actually owe, $78,000 for patronage back in 2016. So we really want to get through paying that out, things like that. We also have this idea of a stock summary. Here, you would just see the total number of stocks that you have, as well as the value of those stocks. Those are something you set up in the system when first going through the implementation, right? Both of these do export the grids, so you're able to export that information from here. Otherwise, this is our home screen. In order to get all of this work, though, there is some setup that's necessary. So there is what I called the implementation process, and that starts by setting up things like the organization settings. Now, this is pretty customizable, right? We can put in whatever company name you want here. We can also adjust things like the color and the logo. And then there's also even some more definable options within the system. Once you've got this established, we'll also create the idea of a source where you can establish if it's a co-op, if it's taxable, if you'll consider lien holders in the system. And we'll also break it down into setting up things like shared classes and categories. Beyond that, we will also have to set up periods. Now, periods could be a calendar year, or this could be the idea of a crop year. Just depends on how your business works. But this allows you to navigate throughout the system and have transactions based on that time frame, and then also allocations and revolvements based on that time frame as well. Okay. So let's talk about this idea before we even dive into any of these of just uploading members into the system. Now you'll see here in the navigation that we do have this idea of imports. Here's where you can import almost anything into the system, and this does accept CSVs. I have already imported the accounts in order to provide some of this demo data, but it's a pretty simple select what kind of import you'll do, and then choose the file you plan to import. Once you do that, you can monitor the progress within this process dashboard. We do use this in order to help users see just how far things have gone, how much time it takes. But really, it should take no time at all. And then you'll have your list of members. So once we upload a member, they're visible from the Members tab, and we can come in and view them at any point. Now, a member has a decent amount of data depending on what you've got in the system. The stuff that we will have imported will be this sort of information where we have an email address, we have a phone number, an account number. Likely this will match your ERP or your system of truth. And then we've also got these ideas of EINs. There's so much information that you can add if it's something that you desire. But then, of course, we've got this idea of the equity summary. This matches the organizational summary, but it's broken down at the member level. So this is just showing you what that member is owed in total, and then also what they own for shares. You can add or edit a member from these screens. I mentioned the idea of contacts and lien holders. You can also add those to the system here. And then, of course, this page is also downloadable to a CSV. So you can still get all of this information back, and you can upload from the imports as well. This is also searchable. You can even use the filters in the grid here. And it's sortable.